And I was actually praying. I was like, Lord, please don't make me do Christian music and please don't make me work at a church.
And Glorilla is also a brand. And she has her own thing.
Vertical spur.
Has got her.
Yeah. Vertical spur, man.
That's hilarious. I'll tell you more about that.
The stuff I was hearing on the Christian radio stations, it felt insincere to me. Oh, you got a problem? Slap God on it, and now we're moving on.
Yeah. God is putting me in those rooms, not just because I'm good at something. That was the key, but the purpose was the light.
Yo, what's up? Welcome back to another episode of the Disruption Podcast.
Sir.
Hello. 270. It's Noor the Baghdaddy.
Chief Olasoji in the building, baby. I told myself I'm going to say my name right now. Yeah.
Let's see how long he keeps it up for. He's the prince.
Marwa is on holiday mode, so she's not here with us today, but we are joined by some special guests. But before we get into that, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, share this around, rate us on Spotify. We have about an hour and 20 minutes to entertain you. So if you do enjoy this and you're not subscribed and you found yourself back here again,
what are you doing?
It means you like it enough to subscribe, right? But we've got people from the States here.
Come on.
Joining us all the way from LA. We've got, thank you for coming through, Megan Tibbits and Teddy Obot.
Come on. Round of applause for everybody.
Where do we look? Do we look here?
That was your one?
But that is your camera right there. Don't stay down the barrel.
Okay, got it.
How are we feeling?
Feeling good.
Yeah,
feeling
yeah.
good. So Australia has been on my bucket list of places to visit for a very long time.
Yeah.
And this year I got 2 places knocked off that list. So I'm just really thrilled.
What's the other one?
Japan.
That's
let's
a good
get
one. When were you there?
From Japan.
I was deep diving on somebody's Instagram and I saw a kimono and a katana.
Yeah, that's mine,
Yeah. So we're in. Yeah.
Don't get us started on Japan. So
listen,
this is the guy that accompanied us as well.
I might have to get you started, but okay. Yeah. We'll get to it.
I'm curious to hear before Cam coming to Australia, what'd you hear about Australia? Because it's always interesting to hear people from America. I know they even wonder, is Australia a real place?
To this day.
Hilarious.
Honestly,
Good things.
yeah.
Okay.
It's you know how you'll hear a lot of things about any specific subject, but the thing that's most dramatic is what sticks usually.
Mm-hmm.
For me, it was that everything's gonna kill you in Australia.
Right, all the bugs.
So like the wildlife.
all the
And you
wildlife.
know what?
Depending
where you are, like I get it, but it's also like obviously people aren't living in the bush like that.
Some people,
Some people are.
You know what? Yeah, you're right. I will say
The
that.
first time you went to the toilet, you checked, yeah?
I might have.
Yeah.
I
Actually,
didn't even
it's
think about that. Now I'm scared.
more of the spiders in the corners. I'm like, is that gonna
Yeah.
brains or you know?
Nah, there's definitely. So I was actually going on a walk, like I think it was last week. And I was thankfully this one was a safe one. But I was walking, I'm like, and I saw a bunch of kangaroos, just a pack of them. And I was like, man, Americans and everyone around the world always go, Australians just walk around and see kangaroos. I'm like, they're dragging it. But then I saw this, and I'm like,
And then
they're
it
right.
happened.
You guys are right. Like we actually do have just hella kangaroos everywhere.
Yeah, we got to see our first kangaroos the other day, and it was magical.
Absolutely
I could go
magical.
home because
It's a very exciting animal to look at.
It is actually.
Like it's just, it's unique. It's very much its own.
A hybrid deer rabbit thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
With
felt
a strong
like,
tail.
Since I've never seen one in person, I know about them obviously, but it felt like I was watching a sci-fi movie with a monster I'd never seen before.
Yeah.
Because it was like a hybrid of a bunch of animals we're comfy with. It's wild.
It's a big creature.
What's the LA equivalent of an animal like that you see
Coyotes.
somewhat regular? Coyotes?
Yeah, coyotes
deer.
are.
Not in LA.
Yeah,
from Michigan,
it depends on
we see
where
deer.
in LA, but sometimes deer, mostly coyotes. But the thing is, LA is it's a city.
Yeah.
So there's not a lot of animals.
Those
you
animals
see
aren't really having a
around.
good time. There's not much land for them to be
Yeah,
around.
for
Yeah,
real.
yeah,
And then
yeah.
like if you do see some bigger ones, it might be like a mountain lion, which you don't want to just be hanging out.
Yeah,
Or there's like
no.
bears that walk through our city.
Bear.
sometimes.
Nah, yeah.
Now that's not,
Well, that's your
not super frequent.
Yeah.
And we're in Pasadena, but I've like seen videos of people's Ring cameras with a bear not literally
we
ringing the
get the
door.
I've seen that. I've seen it on
Australia gets
TikTok.
this.
Yeah.
But brown bears are not going to hurt you.
Yeah.
Something cool that we
black-
have
I should-
on our streets are peacocks right now.
Oh yeah.
So just walking down the street, just on people's roofs, it's
Yo.
All right, so kangaroos aren't that
I
crazy.
know,
Yeah.
We're not that crazy. Oh man. But you're enjoying it though?
Oh,
so
yeah.
much so. And another thing we heard is that the food in Melbourne specifically is amazing.
Yeah.
You're saying it well, by the way.
I said it again.
Melbourne, we didn't get that.
I
Yeah,
was
you did well.
nervous.
Did you
We
practice?
got teed off
little
way
bit.
in
A little
advance.
bit.
Yeah, we haven't done it wrong yet.
And we heard that the city is very cool. Like the Melbourne is the coolest place.
Yeah,
to be.
we'll agree.
We have the
I
best.
don't know if
We have the best nightlife, social life.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But in terms, we have no landmark building.
Yeah.
We're not Sydney like
Yeah,
that.
it's
Sure.
Sydney has the
wanna go,
landmarks, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
But we'll still rep Melbourne.
But 100% with the better cities.
We'll wear that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So to have you all there.
So real quick,
Yeah.
so you're just in Melbourne. You're not traveling Australia, not going to Sydney.
Correct.
Right.
I
Melbourne
wish
a
we had a
must.
little more time. But
Yeah.
maybe next time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See some
There's
well,
tons
you've got
of
your
next
tour
time.
guide right there, like you were
Yeah,
saying.
I
He's
might take you all
He's
around the
ready to
city
go.
tomorrow as
Yeah.
well. We'll see. We'll see. Yeah, there's some places I got in mind.
I love it.
We might jump into it then. I guess what brings you both down to the land down under in our great city of Melbourne?
Melbourne, yeah.
High key, Instagram's a powerful place.
Yeah.
And I was on Instagram Live one day, and Pastor Lewis said in the comments, want to come to Australia.
I didn't know he was cooking like that.
I didn't know he was on Instagram.
I didn't like this on IG like this.
Watching on live
On the live as well, yeah.
Okay, for context for listeners, that's our senior pastor.
Yeah,
So now it's a bit baffling.
Okay. Yeah.
And so I never know who that is or if
Yeah.
they're serious. And so I just said, of course, let's go. Send an email. And he did.
And then email came through.
Yeah, and now we're here. It's
We are
so
here.
wild.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is
What was that process? Was it like a 6-month process? Was it a whole year process?
No, it was just a few months ago.
Oh wow.
I think maybe it was summer. I think maybe June or July.
Oh, that's so mad. Yeah. I
Yeah.
didn't realize it was that
Yeah,
quick in terms of time. Yeah.
It was actually a really quick turnaround for
Right.
an international trip. That's like
Yeah.
probably the furthest distance we could fly.
Right.
One of the furthest.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it's pretty wild.
Yeah, so it was very cool to have it come together, and we got on a Zoom, and I actually missed the Zoom because I thought it was Wednesday, but it's your Thursday,
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
our Wednesday.
Yeah.
Oh, I was like, dang, made a
Yeah.
really
There
poor
goes
impression.
Australia.
because
Australia's done.
I
See you
missed the
later.
meeting by a whole day.
Yeah.
But getting used to the time difference, and we met up, and it's just beautiful that they trusted us just from what they saw online, and to come to minister to the congregation, and then built it out from there. Went to a couple schools and colleges, which
Fun story.
in
Yeah.
America,
Okay.
college is
University.
university.
Right. Yeah.
Oh, so you guys
wait.
thought you were going to uni campuses.
2 days before our
Why
flight.
is everyone here prepubescent?
Yeah. 2 days before the flight, they're like, "Oh, by the way, college is like 7th to 9th," and we're like, "Wait,
No.
That changed everything.
And
Oh,
so
wow.
everything
Yeah.
changed.
Oh,
Whole
wow.
vibe." So that was a
Wow.
fun little
Yeah.
switch up. Yeah.
Jeez. Oh man. Okay.
So, all right. So, career wise, you guys are both very talented musicians. We got to like peek on that on Sunday of that. But what is the career ratio split of your music between like worship Christian sphere and outside of that kind of sphere? Like, what does it look
Yeah.
like for you individually?
Yeah, so there's kind of it's threefold. It's him, it's me, and it's us.
Yes.
Go for it.
Yeah, there are 3 babies that are just growing constantly, and we're just trying to
Yeah.
feed them all constantly.
Yeah.
So that being said, I'll go first. My day to day is basically I'm an artist, but aside from that, I'm a keyboard player.
Yep.
I do that professionally, and then I also produce and write. So most of my time is spent, if I'm home, I'm like working on getting the next thing out. Have a song dropping actually next Thursday. Check it
Nice.
out.
Okay.
But aside from that, I play for an artist named Andy Grammer. And he's just like kind of the man. He's awesome. Became a really good friend of mine, but very positive, uplifting pop music.
Yep.
But with that, we're just on the road a whole bunch. So
Yeah.
probably, actually last year was crazy, but I mathed it out. I was 2 weeks short of being out of, at least away from home, for 6 months.
Wow.
Yeah. So
And we had just gotten married.
Yeah, so good.
got married last year.
So, what I get myself into.
And then when he came home, I was gone. And then when I would come home, he would leave like,
wow.
Yeah.
the next day or something.
Yeah.
So.
So that first like 3 months, I mean, it wasn't like hard on the marriage per se, but it was just kind of like, wow, this is
a lot.
thank God we're graced for this.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Otherwise
yeah.
it'd be like, man, I don't see you.
And
But-
we're going to be newlyweds for a while at this rate.
Yeah.
Because we've
That you
only
can stretch that
technically
out.
been-
You can stretch that newlywed
Exactly.
honeymoon.
Still honeymooning.
Exactly.
Oh wow. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's dope.
Okay, so that's the first baby. That's your career. Second
Yeah,
baby is
so
your career.
Mine, I am a singer-songwriter, travel around and do my music around, so which is a little bit of a mix of singer-songwriter, Jesus, life, personal devotion music.
Yep.
And just in the last couple weeks, I dropped my first worship project, which is on the harp, which is something that the Lord really led me to do. There's a whole backstory with the harp, but
Which we have time for, by the way.
let's dive in at some point. And so, so there's some of the more corporate worship, what you would call, where everyone can sing along. But the my other stuff is more personal devotion. You wouldn't sing it on a Sunday in church, but you would, be
Like
enjoy it in your own time.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
Like
you
that.
listen to it on getting ready in the morning, and and it makes you think, and and draws you close to God is what my hope would be.
Yeah.
That's amazing. You saying the 3 different projects. You could see that on Sunday, where you first started off together, and then you stepped out, and then he was doing his thing, and then he's like, "All right, time for me to leave," and then you come on. I was like,
loved it, yeah.
I
'Cause
love what's going on
this is
here.
dope. I was like, I support him husband there. He's gone off to the side. Now. And then you came back on. I said, "Yeah, bet. All right, do your thing as well, bro." Yeah. So I was like, "This is like you're both in the
Both of them,
yeah."
Yeah.
Because we didn't know. I actually didn't know that you were just as talented as well. I was like,
yeah.
"This is dope." So yeah, I like to see that you've each got your own spaces that you're operating in, but then that comes together in a really like sick dope way as well. Yeah.
Totally.
thank you.
Yeah, and that's the third baby
Yeah.
is our stuff together, which we plan on doing more. We said we'd record and release a project together, a band called Manual.
Yeah.
When we got married, and then we got married, and neither of us were home, so we didn't yet. But we have a couple songs out together. But we have stuff we've written and stuff we want to do, and then even this being here feels like it's leveling up our ministry together, and it feels like it's starting to roll a little bit, snowball a bit in the best way.
Some things are definitely transforming, and it's interesting going back to how we started when we were still dating. Kind of just got a word one day, and it was like, Manuel. That's my last name.
Right.
Obot. It's a whole story we'll get into, but for now, Manuel is the name of the band that we'd come together with to do, and
because that's now
our
married
last
name.
Yeah.
Right.
So one day, basically we're sitting down, and Megan was going through a time where it was like hard to get some writing going, like kind of like writer's block,
Right.
like just not just block, but like I don't even want to look at it. I don't want to deal with it. I want to talk to it.
Don't make me do that.
Yeah, just like kind of brought up a lot of just stress. So one day I was like, all right, let's like sit down and just see what we can do in 20 minutes. And if we can do something, then we'll say we wrote something. And then if not, then at least we tried and we moved something forward. And we ended up writing our first song together, which is like honestly still one of our favorite songs that we've ever done.
Yeah.
And it's just very, the DNA is both of us.
Yeah.
As far as like
Right.
lyrically, musicality wise, I'm very like jazz gospel, and her vocals are crazy. So, just all of it together came together to be this thing. So we're still waiting on releasing that, but I feel like once we do, something's gonna shift too. So.
Yeah.
And what's cool about that song is I feel like after we wrote that, I just knew before we even talked about it, I was like, oh my gosh, we're gonna have a band, and our band name is gonna be Manual. And that means that I'm going to marry this guy. Because for our band name to be Manual, my last name would need to be Manual, and that would mean I would be married to him. So it's kind of how I knew that we were, at least for me on my end, that he's my husband.
Yeah.
Wow.
How long was the
come
dating
on.
phase for you guys?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
How long? We dated for
4 years.
a minute.
Oh, yeah. Well, what was that process like? I mean, given the society expectations of what relationships meant to look like, how much influence did that play in your relationship as well?
I'll say, honestly, I'm so grateful for just like, the Lord orchestrates our lives in completely unique, special ways. But for us, I think there was a lot of like, don't think about the norm.
Yeah.
Don't think about what it is. Because even as Nigerians, there's a lot of us in here. I'm also Nigerian. Sometimes in Nigerian culture, it's very much like, well, what's her name? And it better sound Nigerian. Otherwise, we have another conversation going, So just from like foundational level, it was like, you can either really try to start ascribing to every norm that you see, or you just like let the Lord lead each step. So that being said, even like the beginning, I knew I wanted a friend before it was like, at times people will idolize relationships and turn into this whole thing. And I think if we'd started that way, it would not have worked. So if
we started right and jumped in.
And jumped in and like, this is what a relationship should be like. Even at that point, we were living like an hour and some change away from each other. And there were a lot of steps of like the process, but it definitely started with friendship. Yeah. Friendship was core and paramount. And it wasn't even like, let's be friends before we date. It was like, we're literally just friends. And then literally, like, God's funny. It was like one day we'd never performed a show together. The next day, every show we performed for the next 7 months, we were booked for the same.
Oh, wow.
Separately.
Okay, right.
So it wasn't like, hey, you want to do a gig together? It was just like, hey, I know this person. And someone else was like, hey. And then we just we're on the same bill over and over.
And I'm headed to the gig, and I'm like, oh.
Some serious matchmaking going on in the
Yeah.
background.
And someone was like, they got to get together.
Is that how you guys met, or did you meet before that? Or
We met through music, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. We were both asked to come perform, or not perform, but like lead at a church. So she was leading, I was playing keys.
And none of us went to that church. It was kind of a one-off. Which is cool.
Then you're like, oh, you got a real good voice.
Right.
Like, will you play keys?
I actually, the day we had been Instagram friends or whatever, and I was like, man, we should write a song together. And he was like, yeah, maybe. It totally shot me down, low key.
Which in my, because I knew she was gonna, no, not even. What it is that a lot of times people would like, I had no idea who she was as a person. I never had any like negative assumptions, but there have been so many times people would say, hey, let's write together. And then it comes down to it. And I'm just like,
You're
coming up with chords and doing this thing.
You're
and
leading the whole thing.
I'm like basically
and
like
what's it
creating
for?
this thing, and then their name's just on it. And I'm just like, we're not even moving forward, So at that point I was a little jaded with writing with people. But since then I've come a long way, thank God.
And we ended up writing the song anyway, so.
Yep.
It's meant to be.
Yeah.
Because I got married last year as well, right?
Yes,
We were
you
sitting. Oh, thank you. We were sitting down on Sunday, watching you do your thing, and then we looked at each other.
You and
Looked
her.
at each other, me and my wife. And we were like, damn, man, why do none of us do this? Like, why didn't I continue playing the keys? Why didn't you learn how to like
Beatboxing.
It's never too late, never too late.
I was like, we're listening. Don't worry, we're paying attention. But I was like, yo, imagine we were just like on a Sunday evening, like I'm just out here playing, and you're just there serenading and singing. Like this could be amazing. I was like, bro, we fumbled this.
That's hilarious.
Now, to be honest, you do MC together, sort of.
MC what?
Church.
She actually is our other co-host that's on the podcast as well.
Okay.
So I was the one that's away right now. But we're just like, this is beautiful to watch. Like, you see it in movies as well. A lot of those old school movies, like the husband and the wife are just making the music together. I'm like, this is love. So I'm like, what does that look like at home then? Like, is it constantly just in a writing music's phase? Like, there's the work aspect, but does that also play a role in like just
the dynamic
enjoying
of
each
the
other's? But yeah, is that the
relationship?
dynamic of the relationship too?
No.
Word, yeah.
Honestly, I wish it was more.
Yeah, we're kind of getting back to a place where the thing is, when music is your job, it no longer has the space to occupy like hobby, or when I'm bored, it's the first thing I want to do.
Yeah.
Or, you know what I mean? Like,
Kind of like, no more music.
and not even always in like I don't want to touch it, but it's just like I'm musical for someone else's dream because I'm playing keys for another artist. I'm musical for my own dream. I'm musical for church. Yeah. I'm like music directing at places I've never even met these people. And for her, it's like everything is so business. And like, how do I create this brand and move this thing? So that by the time we sit down, it's hard sometimes to like really get into it. But we've even just, as we were saying, like this trip to Australia has really reignited some of the, this is really good when we do this together. And it's something different. There's something on it.
Yeah.
We were practicing for coming here, and one of my songs and one of his songs we're singing together that you guys heard. And after we were finished, I was like, this is good. We sound good. And we haven't gotten to do that a lot because our own separate things are really taking the front seat right now. But when we got to sit down and practice, it was we remembered
We
how
forgot how good we sounded
kind
together.
of special it is.
Because I record a bit for yours during the service as well. So
You were up there with the tripod.
Yeah,
the whole
I recorded
set.
the whole
I don't know
time.
if y'all saw this.
I do remember seeing it.
Recorded, yeah.
Posted up with the tripod.
And then,
Yeah.
plugged in my audio recording into the sound system. And then I get home that Sunday at like 3 p.m. I was like, let me just listen and see if it came out good. And I was like, this is good.
Yeah.
I was, So you're right when you were saying you sound good, both of y'all. I was like, y'all really sounds really, really good. So yeah, can't wait to edit that.
It's amazing. It's cool because our tones are super different.
Yeah.
I kind of have this like sweet thing happening when I'm not trying to riff, and he has this like gritty, cool tone, and I don't know. Together, maybe it's unexpected. I'm not sure.
So is this the first international trip like for ministry purpose that you guys
Together.
have had? Yeah.
Oh wow.
Oh,
Is
yeah.
it?
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, well, yeah. Hey, man, shout out Australia. We did it.
You're right. Y'all did it.
y'all been
Y'all
doing
made
it.
it
Y'all been
happen.
doing it.
Yeah.
This makes me wonder then as well, because I'm thinking about how we look at relationships, especially like marriage and the union of that these days. I wonder how much we typically look at the fact that the marriage can be used to serve the world if we want to use it in that purpose, but then obviously serve God's kingdom, right? So I remember there was this thing I was looking at once. It was like a Bible plan as I was getting myself ready for. You start getting into your bag.
Yep.
And then it was one of the questions like, why do you want to get married? What purpose do you think you bring to the world? How do you serve the world from this union? What's the point of you guys coming together? And I started thinking in that like frame of thinking. I remember me and Carlos were actually caught up once as well.
Yeah.
And after I did premarital counseling, there was this one thing that stuck out to me, which was like, what's the dream of your union?
Yeah.
Like, it's cool to envision and visualize what you want to do with your life and everything. But like for this union that you have together, what is the dream that you want to achieve? And how do you like continue working towards that, or like, making steps to progress that dream? So
Beautiful.
I wonder how common that is in
That
our world
conversation?
these days for a conversation
Yeah,
like that, to
yeah,
actually be like, how do we try to serve other people through our union? Or like, is that even the framework of how, relationships are these days, of like, our union can serve or can do more than just love,
Well, if you don't mind, I'll start.
please.
So it's funny. We even to kind of pull it back again. So when we first met, there was this like just palpable chemistry. She says like she thought we were already best friends, and it was like our first day actually.
Like in another life, we already knew each other somehow.
Yeah, yeah. And then I have another like story about like God kind of telling me way in advance that she was going to be my wife, but I'll get to that. Remind me though. So we had just been dating about a year. It was the very beginning of 2020. So COVID hadn't quite set in yet, but we're hearing the news. And there was a conference at our church, and it's called Legacy Nights. And the whole idea was like, you are a legacy starter, and you're beginning something that's going to bless your generation, further forward. And we finished one of the sessions. We go back to the car to drive home and do the whole thing. And I just felt the Lord say, and it wasn't like audible, you shall do this, but like in my spirit, I felt like a pretty clear sentence. This marriage is not just for you, and it's this idea that like a lot of times we get into marriage and you see what marriage can be, and there's like this beauty about it. And it's like, I want that. You know what I mean? But it's not always like about you wanting that. But really what it was is the Lord was like, you could probably go find a marriage that you think would work, and all the things you see now that with your short-sightedness and your humanity, like would be probably great for a term. And maybe you'd find a way to be happy. But this thing, there's a lot of things that may seem like opposite sides of the spectrum. But I promise you, if you like lean into this and obey, I'm going to bless it in ways you never could have put together yourself. And it's been so clearly evident, like from before we ever even got married, before we started dating, we had people on our separate camps praying for our relationship.
That's different. People don't normally have that kind of support separately like that. And belief in that union. That's okay.
So,
Like we walked into a gig once, we weren't even thinking of dating.
it was the first time we spent more than like an hour together.
Totally. We walk into this room and someone says, "How long have you been engaged?"
Oh.
So from the
Teddy looked down, just like, oh.
right.
You tell me, bro.
So yeah, people were rooting for us from the tip top.
Yeah. So it's different. I think it's definitely powerful, and I wonder what the world would look like if that was the position or the conversation happening or the position that people took from their unions. Because, I don't know if I see that as such a common thing or even a common convo that I
feel like a lot of times the instant thought is like, all right, how much am I going to enjoy this relationship? Am I going to have fun? What are we going to do like together?
You do your thing.
How are we going to organize it? Yeah, and even then it's like, and this is my career and this is their career and I'm cool with their career. And but it's like, it's not like, yo, what's the purpose of us being together?
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
And I think for me, as the woman speaking in this room, I grew up in a time or a place that kind of idolized marriage and even idolized the way it was supposed to play out. He's your Prince Charming. He needs to like have all this stuff, don't settle, but not settling somehow meant make a list of 100 things he had to be, which is insane and way too much pressure for everybody involved or not involved. And and so it was wild how our story played out because it was really different than I expected or even thought I wanted. So even like me asking him to write a song, he was like, "No, I'm good," sort of thing. And then I think I was the first one to say I liked you first. I don't know. It was just it wasn't the thing I thought was supposed to happen if that was my husband, sort of thing.
I get
You're like, I'm doing all the right things. This is not playing out.
Right, like he's not,
he's not coming to, he's not approaching me.
Right, a little bit like that. And so even one time we had been dating a bit at this time. It might have been the same parking lot moment that the Lord spoke to you. I think he spoke to me. And I was even just asking like, Lord, like I'm happy and I'm pretty sure this is the man. I knew at that point, this is the man I'm going to marry. Right. But why didn't you, Lord, give me the story that I wanted?
Or expected even.
Or expected. Yeah. And I heard him say in my spirit, if I gave you that story, that's the story you would tell. And I need you to tell a different story. And I feel like for all the women out there that have these impractical kind of not real pictures of the way that marriage needs to play out or even dating needs to play out in their own lives, like, Megan, you need to tell the story I gave you so that it can bring some freedom to some other women. So
wow.
I'm just like, damn, okay.
Because I feel like, that's so true. Because I feel like when people say, I want it to play out this way, and if it doesn't, they say marriage is not for me or relationship is not for me because they're not open to see other ways. They're not letting God take control over the situation as well. So, no, I definitely agree with that.
You mentioned upbringing. I want to get into that a little bit because, I mean, the only resident American here we have is this guy.
Oh, really?
Partially.
I'm a global citizen.
Yeah. So one of those
my background, my family's Iraqi, but I was born and grew up in New Zealand, then North Carolina, Virginia, Qatar, and then moved here when I was 14.
Makes no sense.
You said
wow.
It's a lot.
Wild.
Dope,
Yeah.
bro.
That's
Okay,
amazing.
global citizen.
Yeah, he's one of those.
Statement.
Yeah. Actually, I'm sorry. Before you move on, I don't want to miss this. I will say to put a pin on that initial question about like the union of our relationship and like direction. It's been cool because I feel like most of the time God is not telling you exactly a play-by-play of what's going to happen. He just says, take this step. And the reason he doesn't tell us most of the time is because most likely we're going to mess it up. If we know too much, we're like, all right, God, I got you. Let me like boop, bop, beep, and then put that here. And then
we try to speed up the steps that have been.
That's the thing. If you tell me what we're going to end up, I'm going to just try to find the shortcut to end up. I'm not going to learn the character along the way that I can learn. And
you got to figure it out,
So with that being said, the obedience factor was just like, all right, like here it is. All right, great. Now learn how to court her. All right, cool. Now learn what it means to be a union, you know, like learn how to treat someone in a relationship, you know, and then it's just literally just stacking up one step at a time, which has been really beautiful. Yeah. So it's been less of a big picture, but we also have known like, okay, there's something on your life and there's something on my life. And we don't know exactly what this, you know, Neapolitan swirl is going to look like once you kick something off. But for now, like we're just doing whatever this next step is, and that's kind of how we got here.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And I think that's the beauty of it at the end of the day, because you don't have we still do, but you don't necessarily have a frame of thinking for what the journey looks like or even what the end result is. But because you get to do that, there's so much richness that comes out from the steps that you take and then the learnings that come from that as well. But if you already have an idea in your mind of, okay, this is what it's going to be and this is what it typically looks like to get here, then you're not taking time to learn anything because you're just trying to move on to the next practical, conventional step to take. So I think that's the beauty of that,
I love trees as an analogy because every year they get a new layer. And then when you cut the tree, you can see like how old it is just because how many layers, how many rings it has.
Yeah.
And there's like some talk about like if like some crazy season happened, you'll see a bigger rain than others, but it still like indicates 1 year. But really the whole point is that like you need seasons. You can't skip steps. And when it's not built on solid foundation, that's when things just get chaotic. So even this earlier, we're talking about like how crazy and beautiful and important seasons are.
Yeah.
Without it, like imagine going from like 7th grade to university.
Finished.
Like even if you're smart enough to do it, there's so much beyond just like book smarts that you need to be ready for that experience, and life is that,
For sure. Well, I'm sure you had very different types of seasons than in your separate upbringings. So like born and raised Michigan, born and raised in
Whereabouts in
LA,
Michigan?
or like
I was born and raised in a little town called Cairo, Michigan.
I have a very fond memory of Dearborn.
Dearborn.
So, because there's a lot of Iraqis there, and
Really?
it's like overwhelming amount.
Wow.
And the first rap song I ever remember hearing was "Cleaning Out My Closet" by Eminem in Dearborn, Michigan. And I was like, and then as I got older, I was like, oh, it's pretty cool. I heard Eminem in Michigan, but it's a very fond memory of Michigan.
That's cool. So random, man. So born and raised Michigan,
Michigan,
and then born and raised in New Jersey,
right?
So far East Coast, but of Nigerian descent.
Yeah.
Home life was
very different.
Jollof rice, the whole nine.
Yeah. Well, I mean, let's hear about it. What was both of your upbringings, and I guess how do you think that's informed?
Okay. I grew up in a very musical home. Everybody loved Jesus. My mom was a music teacher. My dad was a banker. On a random day, they said, "We're out." They quit their jobs. They started a band. And then that was my life from then on. I was born into a family band. And then we would go around the Midwest, but then the States, and do full-time ministry. And so got a motorhome and threw a bunch of crazy instruments in the back, hence why I play the harp. A crazy instrument. It's kind of the band's niche, everybody has to have their niche. So crazy instruments was our niche. Went around, lived on free will offerings, and parents raised us in, like a Partridge Family sort of vibe. It was super fun.
Yeah. What were the challenges with that though? And
of course. I mean, we were gone a lot, so I didn't get to have
Stability.
sleepovers with my friends or, as many of like kind of normal kid experiences. But then we actually went off the road when I was in 6th grade. So, and they did that so that we could join sports and be in the school plays and do some normal kid stuff. And so I still got to experience that afterwards, but it was a blast. It was the only life I knew. So I didn't really know that if, I don't think I was missing anything, but I didn't know. I thought everyone that sang had a family band. So
I remember when he said that at church. I was like, "That's actually that's so true."
Yeah,
that's how you grew up. You're like, "Oh, you've got a family band."
Right, exactly.
No,
not really.
Look away from me, Mom.
What is that? Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so it was a very normal way. I thought it was a normal way to grow up,
Sure.
but I didn't realize until later that it wasn't.
Yeah, wow.
I guess how receptive are people to that kind of a movement, or you guys moving on? Like, do you go to places where people have invited, or are you trying to also then trying to bring?
No,
that out?
we would get invited, and booked out. Living Truth was booked out.
That's wild.
Like a year in advance, I think. I didn't know
wow.
know about that. But
So how do you get booked out? Like,
Yeah, like who's doing sales? Your mom or your dad? Like,
because right now
my-
Instagram is like, Pastor Lewis clearly said, "Hey, you want to come to Australia?" But
exactly.
how did that happen?
I think just word of mouth, and then and then
You need to run it back to word of mouth days.
high
'Cause,
key.
yo, how does
I
this work?
think so.
High key. So yeah, I think a church would have us, and then I can imagine that they would tell their friends, and then they would have us back the next year. So hence the booked out year in advance.
right, got you.
But yeah, it was how my parents supported our family. So it was wild. I mean, we weren't getting whatever we want. You know, it was but we weren't in lack. The Lord was kind.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. But when they tell my sister and I what we were living on that's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Some low numbers, but we never
You don't feel it.
no.
Yeah.
There's something so fascinating about like kids when it comes to that aspect. It's like the parents, I don't know what your parents' situation was, but it's like your parents might be going through it, but the kids have no idea.
Yeah.
They're like, it does, like, I don't know. Dad's
Totally.
here, mom's here. Right.
We're good.
Totally.
They're having a good
Right,
time. That's
which is a
yeah.
blessed way to grow up.
That's
Yeah.
like part of the point, I think, too. Like parents protect their kids from
Yeah.
the thing, like they're the covering, the umbrella.
100%,
So like
yeah.
a child shouldn't ever have to perceive the depth and the weight of
Yeah.
all of that, and they
Yeah.
can't understand it. But
Yeah.
the kids that do end up getting pulled into that are the ones that grow up super fast. And
Yeah.
It's
different
yeah,
upbringings.
But
it's very weird when, cause I've got friends like that where it's like they from a young age got exposed to like a lot of this stuff, or like parenting their kids, parenting their younger siblings when they're like 7, 8 years
Yeah.
old,
Yeah.
and it's like the impact that had on them growing up is like they're exhausted.
Yeah,
You know?
absolutely.
wow.
Yeah, I feel grateful because we had just enough, but we also had enough to be grateful for everything that we had.
Yeah,
And
yeah, that's nice.
getting a Barbie for Christmas was like, what?
yeah.
This is amazing. Where it
I'm just picturing that.
You know what's so funny about Barbie specifically is I remember. Wow.
go on, Barbie.
I remember my sister always wanted like Barbies and whatnot, and she'd always get the knockoff brands. And like, so in my
Yeah.
mind, I was like, damn, they must be expensive to get
Right.
Barbies.
To get 'em
The other day, I came on, I'm like, yo, this is kind of cheap for the branded version.
That was my parents.
Like, this is not bad, man.
This is what I do for my niece.
Barbie
I
at
take her to Kmart and that's what we do.
Literally.
$5 for Barbie. So.
Right.
Crazy.
Would you, this before even jump into your like upbringing as well, but would you guys jump into that type of a lifestyle again? Do you think you would be interested in?
I mean, we're about to see.
Right. It seems like Family Band is
it's
the thing
brewing.
that's going on.
Right. So
Teddy's not on it, man.
no. I will.
He's like, I'll take planes, not vans.
Sure. It would look quite different.
Or we
but-
could like deck out a motorhome.
Yeah.
And make it
Okay.
like so sick. And now we got what's that Elon Musk thing? Comlink or satellite link?
Starlink.
Yeah, what's the
Starlink.
yeah.
That's it. With the internet on the go.
Yeah.
Might be nice.
And you're cooking.
I key that. That's actually not bad.
But no, we travel a lot too, so I like home. Home means something really important to me.
I mean, we're already doing it. It would look.
Yeah.
It wouldn't look like it did
Yeah.
back then.
Oh,
you
for
know.
sure,
So
for
we're already doing it. I mean, we're in Australia. We just don't have the kids yet to call it a
Yeah, yeah.
family band. But if we had the kids, they'd be here. And if they were 3 years old, put them up there. I don't know.
If
they
know.
Say if they can sing.
Play the oboe.
I played the oboe.
Sorry, guys. What in the world is an oboe, please? What is that?
Hilarious.
An oboe?
An
Oh, wait. No, that's the
oboe.
mouth.
It kind of
you
looks
mentioned
like a
before.
skinny clarinet with a double reed.
Why?
It sounds a
just
little
adding
bit,
things
if you
now.
don't play it well, which I was playing it in middle school, so I probably didn't sound a little bit like a duck call if you're not doing it well.
yeah.
But if you are, it's a beautiful
Sounds great, yeah.
orchestral sound. Yeah.
Why did tap into the oboe?
Oboe, missing out or
Yeah,
something.
yeah.
Maybe.
Oh man, that's super interesting though. Like, yeah, my parents they would definitely never have jumped onto. I think even if God, if they heard that from God, I don't know. What do y'all think?
No, your parents love the Lord.
That's it. They
Your
love the
parents
Lord.
love the
Amen.
Lord.
Thank God for that.
They would do whatever he said, I
man.
think.
Your dad would be like, I don't think so.
Bro,
That's
my
not
mom
for
loves a
us."
good shower in the bed, man.
I can imagine.
I mean, we lived in a house.
Oh, what? Okay, hold on. Let me hear this.
Okay, yeah.
No,
it's so
to be honest,
clear
I
to
see
me.
what you were
ju-
saying.
What
yeah.
are you thinking? I'm thinking,
I'm thinking,
yeah. So we
I'm
just
thinking
had-
like jump on this, drive off to the next
and
spot.
never stop
Sure.
until okay.
No, we would. There was a bed in the back, but there was no place to cook and such. So we would stay. If we were staying overnight, we would stay with a host family.
Yeah.
But we had a house that we lived in.
Right.
Yeah,
So
that
this
did
is
not
like a
have wheels.
constant-
So you have a start like a
moving.
central point that you keep checking
Yeah,
back.
so
to.
we would do about
Gotcha,
5 shows
gotcha,
a week.
gotcha.
So Wednesday night, Friday
That is a
night,
lot, though.
Saturday
That's a
night,
lot.
2 on Sunday, and then we would come home. You know, so
Got
we would
you.
come home in
Okay,
between.
okay.
So
Okay.
my
That's a lot.
sister and I went to school.
Yeah.
Public school.
And that was how it
Oh,
looked like
okay,
for the
okay.
most
For
part.
sure,
as
yeah.
well.
And then when we would have like a week on
Yeah.
Mackinac Island doing ministry conference, then we would, get our homework and miss school that week. But usually we had pretty decent
I feel like
attendance.
you'd be coming back to school after like one of the conferences, like the cool kids. Like you got stories to tell.
Honestly, I remember my parents picking me up in the motorhome one time, and I felt like the coolest kid in school.
What's your favorite thing about it? Was it Cairo, Michigan?
Caro, yeah.
Cairo? What's your favorite thing? Like if you think about it, you're like, this is the best thing about this place.
Okay, yes. Fall in Michigan is gorgeous, and we have a thing called Pumpkin Festival, and it's really sweet. And there's like
Pumpkins?
a parade, and pumpkins.
Pumpkins.
Yeah, and we would in school we would decorate the pumpkins and the pumpkin carving contest and pumpkin decorating contest, and we used to do a lip sync, which I won 3 years in a row with my friends. Just saying, it was just like a really fun, festive.
Yeah, wow.
One, I already loved fall, and then 2, it's like pumpkins and cute hay rides and cuteness.
It's very chill.
Yeah.
Sounds like a vibe, yeah.
Yeah, it's actually October. So our October
yeah.
is getting chilly. Yours is getting warmer,
Yeah.
which is wild.
Thank God.
Right.
Finally. Yeah.
Yeah.
It is trippy though.
Yeah.
So that's something I love about Carol.
Yeah.
I love Carol.
Talk to us about Jersey then. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Where to start? So single parent home. So just me and mom's. Jersey is an interesting place. The part we lived in was about 12 minutes out from Philly. And the county we lived in was called Camden County. Camden County itself is a pretty big county, but the city of Camden had I think the 3rd highest crime rate in the world
Oh, in the world.
at the time.
Right, yeah.
But then Lindenwold, where we lived at, was a lot safer, but some crazy stuff would kind of
Still,
creep its way over.
yeah.
So there was a bit of shelteredness that was just really necessary. But with that, I feel like, your childhood shapes you. So I had a lot of solo time where I was just in there rocking. I had a great imagination. Your boy was never bored because I was always thinking about whatever. But with that, my mom got me into music when I was 5. So at the age of 5, I took piano lessons. That's
Right. Yeah.
What was her reasoning for getting you into music at that age?
It was a mix. Part of it was she just wanted me to do extracurricular because she wanted me just home all the time.
Yeah.
So from the beginning of my life till kind of even now, I was always in at least 2 extracurriculars. So
Wow.
soccer,
Let's
piano, football, and you guys know soccer.
Yeah. No, you
Hilarious.
good. You good.
Clarinet. I learned clarinet at some point. I got into dance.
He's a great dancer.
Yeah, I
Can
could
you
tell
show
you
us
can
the
dance.
moves on
How?
Yeah, I could tell. I was like, this guy can dance.
He's a dancer as well. That's
Well, I want to hear that. How?
No, I don't know. Just the vibe, the way you dress as well.
Okay.
Even though you just everything. I'm like,
game recognized game, yeah, Carl.
Hey, let's
yeah,
go.
This
yeah,
guy
I
is
can do it.
breakdancer.
Nah. I quit dance a long time ago. So.
Oh, you used to break those?
Nah, actually, not at all.
Try.
Not at all.
Oh man, let down.
man.
No, that's
Okay,
great, bro.
okay,
I actually
cool.
used to break in high school.
Definitely better
yeah.
than
Yeah,
anyone
nah,
that
yeah,
we saw here.
yeah, nah.
At least for what we put up on our Olympics.
Oh yeah, you guys saw that. Yeah.
I just want to say
I
that it's not a
forgot.
representation of what we do.
I figured not.
I said we messed up when we didn't send one of our Filipino
Filipino
representatives
Get out there, yeah. They
over
would
there.
I could have.
They get
Bebo
that.
was done well, but yeah, hey, let's
Yeah. All, yeah.
back to you.
Back to your
All
break
respect.
dancing.
All respect. She did what she did.
No.
But yeah, so all that being said, Yeah, I just got into music from a really early age, and then also I remember specifically there was a time. Mom also came from like a church background. Everything was church where she came from in Nigeria, but there was a shift where it became less about just like going to church and devotion time, and more about like my life is yours, Lord. And as a child, seeing that shift was just like,
Wow.
whoa, we went from just like kind of praying here and there, and legit it was like simple morning devotions to there was a few times we'd have like a Bible study that would start a Tuesday night and end on Thursday morning, because they'd pray through the entire day and a half.
Start saying, hey, slow down, coach.
So it was like deep end, super hardcore for me. And of course, as a kid, you're just like, man, I just want to play with my toys and watch Cartoon Network. What are we talking about right now? But there came a point where like the Lord, this is pretty pivotal for me, my story. But so Nigerian born, our family name is Asian, which is, you may have heard that depending on what part of Nigeria you're from. But that was my grandfather's name.
Yeah.
So we were going to this church, and it was like just Holy Spirit, Pentecostal, speaking in tongues, the whole thing. And the pastor was like, heard a word from the Lord. We need to anoint your son. We're going to do a prayer, fasting, and you're going to do the whole thing, and then we're going to have an anointing service. So I was going by this name, ACN, all my life up to that point. I was like 9. It was actually right before my 10th birthday. And that week before we had the anointing, I actually prayed in tongues for the first time as like a 9-year-old, which is it's like, what? I look back and I'm like, I did what? But then the pastor prayed, and he was like, all right, here it is. Like the oil's dripping off my face, and he says, okay, your name will be David, which is my first name, David. Teddy's my middle name, another story. But you'll sing like David sang, you'll dance like David danced, and you'll have a heart after God's own heart. And he spoke that over my life. And from that point forward, my mom only called me David. And the following, it was like 2 weeks later, I wrote my first song. I started watching Kids Choice Awards on Nickelodeon. I saw Usher like doing these dance moves. I was like, oh, that's kind of dope. Let me try that. I just started dancing in my bedroom. Just all these things just started manifesting that. Looking back, I can now see like it was because of that moment. But before that, or in that time, my life just changed. Yeah. Wow. But all that to say, come to find out down the road, I started getting really into name study and word study. Found out the name Asian, even though it comes from like a good place, it means like it kind of translates to weary from striving.
Okay. Yeah.
/ like you're a fighter, which, to each their own, that's cool. Yeah. But it was just like, I think there's a heart about that
it's not peaceful.
It's not peaceful. Even now, as I look at my life, like it does not look like that at all. Whereas the name David translates to dearly beloved. And ever since that point, I felt that mantle of like being beloved every time I walked into a room, with that, God just kind of started to develop some stuff, and I got into my youth group's worship team as I like hit my teens, and joined like a choir. Then I got to the church worship team, and like all this stuff was just developing. I'm writing songs in secret, and like not secret, but like I was afraid to share my music, as a kid. And then it turned into me just starting to sing, and I didn't even think I had a good voice until I got to college. And like I was like performing for some friends that started crying. I was like,
this is like probably 10 years later at this point. Then, isn't it?
Exactly. Wow. So it was this thing that just had been developing over time, little by little. And it wasn't like I came from, my mom listened to a lot of gospel music, and she actually records music now, which is amazing story.
Yeah.
Okay, that's crazy.
Really dope.
Nigerian mom making music. Come on,
you get that. It's not the norm. So the Lord is just really, tactfully guided my life with all the things that he's like, all the seeds that he's sown have just like developed and blossomed into a bunch of different areas of my life.
That's beautiful.
Was there ever a period of running away from that? Because I know sometimes especially when people say, even outside of like calling that, which typically we talk about in like the church context, but even if people just say, I think you're really good at this, or I think you have a real good,
you're a great leader.
You have a great inclination to be able to do this. You're a great leader. These kind of things there. Sometimes there's the tendency to then shy away from that or feel the weight or the pressure of that? I guess the gift or the affirmation from other people,
or the expectation that I'm going to behave this way.
Yeah. That this is what we want to see. This is what we expect from you. Was there ever a season of shying away from that, and what did that look like? And if there was, how did you kind of bring yourself back?
Yeah, honestly, I might still be in it.
Yeah,
to
right.
be like completely real. I think on one hand, with the gifting stuff, it was, you've probably heard like your gift will open doors for you and like make a way, and like that's just what it's always been. And before I knew I was any good at anything, people were like, "Man, you should come do this." And my whole life has just been me being invited to stuff and then it opening another door.
100%.
Like literally every single good thing that's like really awesome has just been like an invitation is how it started. But that being said, like I got my identity started to become a lot about my gifting. And I'm sure you probably have an idea of how that's not good.
Yeah.
So even I think it was up until COVID, it didn't hit me that I started to need people to see my gift for me to feel like full. And then it wasn't until the rug was pulled under all of our feet with just being isolated and at home that I was like, oh, that's not like the fullness of who I am. Like I'm a lot of other things. But with that, like as an artist, especially living in LA, and there's so many elements and factors to it, but like I've gotten the privilege to be in these like really awesome rooms writing with people I never would have thought, or like performing on these stages. And I'm like, wow, this must be like what the Lord has for me, because these are where the doors are opening.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like God is putting me in those rooms, not just because I'm good at something. That was the key, but the purpose was the light.
Yeah.
And if I'm not like dedicated to being the light that God has made me to be, then I'm already living outside of my purpose, you know?
Yeah.
So with that, I think as you age, again, seasons, things change and shift, and I wouldn't be who I am without those experiences that I had.
Yeah.
But I feel like he might even be pulling me more into like a different form of ministry that I'm not like super comfortable with initially. But I grew up in it. I was speaking in tongues at 9, and I was like seeing, you know, these heavy hitter ministry people doing all this stuff, and you know, always in church my whole life. So it would make the most sense that that's a continuation of what I do. So
like that wasn't there for no reason, kind of thing.
Exactly.
That experience. Okay. Yeah.
Exactly. So you know, we'll see.
Yeah.
How it all moves forward.
It is ultimately almost like a I forgot who was it in the Bible? It was like Samuel, like a "Here I am, Lord," like use me, or like a yes.
Yeah.
I've seen that. I can attest to that as well. Where it's just the constant yes for the opportunity to like utilize whatever you have is a good way to start. And then you start to realize after, oh snap, this leads to this and this leads to that. But then now you're left in the position of like, do I just keep on saying yes, or do I know where I need to start stepping into, or where I need to go now? Like what is it? You know what I mean? How do I navigate this space? Yeah. And that's kind of, I think that's what I've been, honestly, that's what I've been thinking about probably for the past like year. Like there's so many opportunities for yes, but okay, but is there a no, because I know this is where I need to go?
Yeah.
Like, that's an interesting place to operate in. So I hear that.
Yeah.
Have you been back home to Nigeria or?
Yeah, definitely.
Oh wow, because I know
have
Daniel.
you both gone
I
yet?
haven't gone yet.
Oh, yeah.
Please make it happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I heard you guys recently went.
Yeah. Damn, my parents said it.
Listen, we spent.
They had photos and videos.
3-4 hours with your parents.
This is what Daniel did over there.
Yeah.
Quality time.
When he was in third
You know
grade.
what I'm saying? We recently back. Yeah, just came back in July. Experienced that
So
place.
awesome,
That place is. It's something special there.
Yeah, it's connecting.
Different kind of hustle, I think, that goes on in Nigeria, and it's like, okay, I can see why there's so many like amazing exports that come out of this place, but also why there's just so much potential and why there's so much attention from other countries and whatnot. So make the trip happen. Yeah. That's crazy. That's dope.
After Japan.
Japan's done, right?
Say again?
Japan's been done now, right?
Yeah. I mean, I definitely want to go back. Japanese culture is just like.
Are you an anime fan?
I was going to ask, but I said, let me chill out.
I said,
Of course.
My God!
Of course.
Hey, Noor, you need to get on this. We've been
What's
working
your
hard.
favorite one?
Oh, that's hard, bro. That's so
we've got a
Y'all are
TV over
about to
here.
nerd
We
out
might.
yeah, I know that's
might
not the
just watch
point of
anime all
this.
night.
So on myself, I'll put my own limitations, but it's okay. I will say though, I've recently been coming back to Dragon Ball Z.
I've been thinking about running that back.
And that's like the original anime for most of us American kids.
Yeah.
Because it was the first anime that went to air on that wasn't Sailor Moon.
And regularly.
Yeah, and like you just like, who's this dude flying on a cloud and he's got like
just beefing everyone.
right, and he's like just pop, 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 pop. And you're like, what? You know, so super hype. But aside from that, like, oof, I don't know, bro. JJK's incredible.
Yeah.
You pull me on this guy.
Highly rated. Yeah. That's not a small one.
All right, let's not bore these guys.
Yeah.
Just clear that. Yeah,
But
no
I will
anime
say,
watches.
what is your biggest standoff to it? Or maybe it's just not interesting enough.
You're trying to convert.
No. We tried already.
I want to hear
We
this.
brought reinforcements.
I don't know. I actually don't know what it is. 'Cause I like the idea of a good storyline. I like the idea of good animation. I like all the elements. I just
He's a
don't
contrarian.
get into it. The only shows I really like are like either kind of stupid, like The Office,
Okay.
or crime mafia storylines.
Or very
Okay.
deep. Like
AKA
yeah, or
like-
very deep.
Are you like CSI or like True Life type of stuff?
Like neither.
Like
trying to think.
Father.
Yeah, like Sopranos
Okay,
type of stuff. Like I
So
like
still a
that.
drama?
Yeah, drama, but
with crime.
yes.
scenes.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll get him.
I hear that.
We'll get him. Yeah.
And you know
And
what?
the Boondocks. The Boondocks is the only anime I like.
That's anime.
Valid,
He's like,
valid.
is that-
I mean, in the that's a whole other. Yeah, that's another conversation. But that's like the black anime.
Yeah. All right,
The
it's a good
one.
show. It's
Yeah,
definitely a good
yeah.
show. Oh my goodness. All right, back to doors and the
Yeah,
different
yeah.
opportunities that you guys have both been able to step into. How do you, I guess, navigate that then as well? In together and then in your individual, I guess, the babies. I want to go back to that reference.
Oh yeah.
How have you been able to navigate being the light and trying to be that influence and change in certain spaces? But you're very talented, so you'll be getting attention from not just Christian artists or Christian producers or church, but just music and artists around the world in general. So how do you, I guess, navigate that, and what's kind of difficult or has been the most difficult element of being very talented people that everyone kind of wants to
Because you can't say yes
work
to
with?
everyone, yeah.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Especially
I feel
like,
that.
hey, can you feature my music? Can you? I got this album dropping. You're like, oh, does that valid a line? I'm not too sure. Like,
Yeah. I feel like there's a couple of ways, but I will say the vocation piece biblically is one thing that always stands out to me. Like, was it Paul too? Well, Jesus for sure was a carpenter. So was
Paul was a tent maker.
Paul
maker,
was. Yeah. Tent maker. So it's like that's not his purpose, and that's not his identity, but it's
That's
a
what he
gift
does.
and an ability that he has,
Yeah.
and he uses it to make money.
Yeah.
So the thing sometimes is that, and I'm still growing in it, but my understanding is that music isn't absolutely just for ministry. Like, it is a vocation to gifting as well. But the thing is, there's so much attached to it spiritually most times that there's a sensitivity you have to have. Because even like I could get invited to something really dope, but like I'm not trying to do that same kind of thing all the time because it's there's shifting. There's a lot more going on. But at the same time, if I was a carpenter building houses, I'm going to like help someone, do something. They're watching witchcraft on TV. Like it's the same thing. You got to be prayed up. You got to be protected. There's not like it's not just different because it's music. But it's still like I work in music. Therefore, I need to know what it means to navigate how to make money with this gifting I've been given. Yeah.
Would you, hypothetically, Glorilla ask you to do a gospel song on her album? Would you do it? Because
In what capacity? Like as an artist or a producer or anything?
does it change depending on the capacity?
It's a gospel song.
Yeah, I mean, so for example, the recent Glorilla album has Maverick City on it, right? Personally,
that.
didn't care too much. I was like, I listened to it. I was like,
Yeah.
the song's okay, whatever. Like, but it just created a lot of discourse. A lot of people like, definitely shouldn't. Some people are like, it's a way to minister.
Yeah.
With, I don't know, for you guys, what would that look like? I'm trying to think of a,
chorus or producing.
Well, I'll hype her up a little bit. She did an arrangement for J-Lo for the AMAs like 2-3 years ago.
Oh, wow, okay.
Oh, recent,
Yeah, which was like really crazy because J-Lo found a video of hers from like almost 10 years ago and was like, this girl's dope. And then just got on her. And then they kind of had like a working relationship for about a year and something.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. It was like really wild. But like, wait, what? But that being said, sometimes you just say yes.
Yeah,
you know. But other things, I think in that context, especially because it's so much about like the other element is brand. Brand is like huge, and we don't think about it a lot, but it's everything. Brand is everything. So Maverick City is a brand as well as it is a worship team, as well as it is a collective of people that like are gifted in ministry. And then Glorilla is also a brand, and she has her own thing.
Beautiful Spur.
Has got her.
Yeah. Beautiful Spur, man.
That's hilarious. I'll tell you more about that.
So I just sound stupid. It's like, what is he saying?
She's just like, what is this?
No.
But that being said, like, man, I feel like there's a lot of things that we as, I don't want to say we as Christians, but also we as Christians, we get stuck up on. And it's like, this is so paramount. It's so important. And if you've not done this, you know, and we just had a conversation earlier, but, you know, you know, like, okay, like
is this the hill we're going to die on?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
There's a lot of other hills too.
But then there's people that have like either not stepped foot in the church or never even heard Jesus' name in a musical context. Probably hearing that Glorilla song and being like,
this is different.
I just listened to this whole 13-song album, and this song made me feel something different. And it wasn't just, you know what I mean? Like, it's not just hype, and it's not just like blatant energy going out, but there's something different.
Yeah.
You know, and I feel like ministry is ministry.
Yeah.
You know? So, and at the same time, like, I know right now the Lord is taking me to a new level. Like, I can be light all I want, but am I going to be a night light or am I going to be a lighthouse? You know what I'm saying? Like, you can be a soft, you know, kind of small influence, or you can like really be like boom, boom, boom. And the older I get, the more I realize like, oh, like sometimes you gotta be
time.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Like I had my nightlight time. It was cool.
Yeah.
What is the next step? But that being said, like, man, if it's a situation where God has clearly opened the door for me to be a light in a space, and my musical affectation to something is gonna shift it in a it's gonna lift. And I want to see what that does and where that goes. Yeah.
How have you had to balance that for yourself?
Yeah, I think, well, my own personal music journey, I was asking the Lord. I've loved Jesus since I was a little girl, thank God. And but I wanted to do singer-songwriter. I wanted to do mainstream stuff. I wanted to, you know, I didn't really relate to much Christian music that I was hearing.
On that, sorry, what was it that you think you weren't relating to, or like why?
If sometimes the songs I was hearing on the radio, which was kind of the only stuff I would hear, because we were the music. We didn't have a home church because we were.
You were the music.
We were the music, so like I didn't hear. I wasn't exposed to like some modern name worship music as a kid. I don't know. So the stuff I was hearing on the Christian radio stations, it felt a bit insincere to me. Felt a bit oh, you got a problem, slap God on it, and now we're moving on. You know, when that didn't work for me. I wanted, can we really talk about the real stuff? Can we talk about how it's hard to trust the Lord, and what does that look like when I don't know if I can trust the Lord? You know, I wanted to, I didn't hear on the radio Christian music that was as honest as I needed it to be for my relationship with God at the time. Yeah. And I'm sure it was great. I'm not trying to.
This is also before Spotify. So
a
lot of things have changed.
Yeah. Sure. And so it was whatever the radio stations were playing. And so I was like, God, I love you, but I want to write some honest stuff. So I think that in my head that meant mainstream.
Outside of the Christian space, right?
Yeah, it's outside of that.
Yeah.
And so my first EP and my first album are just singer-songwriter life stuff. Not about God, of course. Music can't be Christian. Like the music doesn't have a soul to be saved. So like Christian music, non-Christian music, what is that? You know. So my music was not saying Jesus' name, but it was wholesome. I'm a Christian person singing music. So does that make it Christian music? I might argue that it does. But anyway, so pursuing that for a long time, and just found that that I was just trying pretty hard, and the opportunities came through, which is funny. That's kind of how I started playing the harp. I got on this TV show, and they were like, this up and coming harpist, and I was like, this is literally the only song I know how to play on the harp. So anyway, but so still was doing just mainstream stuff, and I was actually praying. I was like, Lord, please don't make me do two things. Please don't make me do Christian music. I love you, and I will be a Christian singing music forever. But please don't make me do Christian music, and please don't make me work at a church. Like, I love church. Let me just not know the back end. Let me just not like be a part of any like thing that could make it messy. And then before I knew it, he was calling me into Christian music, and I delayed that yes for a really long time. I would cry about it. It was like, I knew he was saying do this, and I was like, Lord, please, 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 no. Like, I just had this way I thought I wanted it to look. Theme of my life. But and eventually the kindness of the Lord, he changes our heart to when we say a yes to desire the thing that he calls us to, which is really, really kind of the Lord, because I couldn't imagine at this point doing anything else. I don't want to do mainstream. Sure, if an opportunity came up that made sense and the Lord was saying, do that, of course. But I love doing ministry. I love talking about Jesus in my music. But I also love a song that could go either way. Like, is this girl talking about love, or is she talking about Jesus?
You know what I love? Yeah, okay. I've been loving that. I think Christian rappers love this the most, where they get away with being able to rap about love, and it's about their wife. So I'm like, technically, this could be Offset. That rap this right here, but it's their wife, and it sounds wholesome. This is beautiful. I'm gonna rap it at the top of my lungs. So I'm like, I like that. It's like, is it
tone the line a little?
But it's still a good message at the end of the day from it. You know what I mean?
Songs of
Love your
Solomon.
wife, yeah.
Songs of Solomon been around for
Big
centuries. So I mean, that's the same thing without music.
Yeah. Okay.
It just started to not make as much sense. I was doing shows like in the bars and in the clubs and stuff, and all I wanted to do was talk about Jesus, and I didn't even have Christian songs that I was playing. But so so I eventually said yes, and it still took me a while to put out some music. But actually the first Christian project I put out was end of 2022.
Oh yeah.
So
wow.
So
Somewhat recent.
And so now, but it's full out now, and that was years ago, and before I knew, I was also working at my church. So and I'm not currently. We still serve there, and we love our church. But the Lord has me in a season of being called out. So. So Christian music or bust at this point.
What was that process of saying yes? Was it, I tried it my way, now let me try it your way because my way's not working? Was that, all right, I've had enough. Let me just see, God, where do you want me? Like, where am I going with this? What was that process of going, all right, I'm going all in on this now?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think it was never like an excited yes.
Okay, yeah.
It was never like, okay,
That's real.
God, cool, we're doing this? Sick. Yes. It was like, I know that you are asking me to do this, and I love you too much to keep saying no. And I see that we've reached a place where the doors aren't opening. Like, even after being on that TV show, you'd think that would like do some stuff. Didn't really. Like, I mean, it sounded cool for a hot minute when people in Carroll were excited that their hometown hero was like doing stuff in LA, but pretty soon they forgot, so it was kind of it was just time. I think when we delay saying yes to the Lord, it just hurts us. And so it was just like, okay, God, I love you. And because I love you, I'm going to say yes to this thing that I'm pretty sure you're really wanting me to lean into.
Which I think is beautiful at the end of the day as well, because I think, you're right. In delaying it, there's hurt along the way, failures, which I think will happen regardless though. But I think there's a different element when there's those hurts and the failures, but then there's the grace because you're actually walking in that step, as opposed to
Yes.
like
I know I'm not meant to be here.
you know what I mean? Like
Now I'm
it's
hurting.
different when it's
Yeah.
like, oh wow, everything's kind of really not working out, and I kind of really know that I'm probably not even supposed to be here anyway.
Yeah.
So eventually, you actually just get pushed fully into that
Yeah.
yes of like, all right, full surrender ultimately at the end of the day. Yeah. So
And I think the opportunities that I was getting were also pushing me towards the yes that maybe even before I had fully said it, I was, getting calls from churches and calls from, Christian conferences and things.
Right.
And then they were like, do you have anything to sell? I was like, my singer-songwriter music. So, I don't know.
It's like that process already started for you. You just weren't fully aware of it
Exactly,
yet.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wanna switch it up a bit and play a manga with all of us here. And it's very random. I wrote this down like a couple of days ago when it happened. It was on Saturday, I think, this week. And I sent it. We have a little group chat where we send like topics and questions in. So I want to test us on how well we think we do in the what did I write here? In the test of life. So I'll frame this. I don't know if you all ever remember this show called True Beauty. I think it was called True Beauty or something. And it ran during I think it was 2009, 2010. Essentially, right? They'd have models on, and then everyone's trying to get to their next, the next step of their modeling career and whatnot. But the whole premise of the show is you can be beautiful on the outside, but you have to be beautiful on the inside. That's true beauty. That's how it always end, right? So in the last challenge of the show, which wasn't really a challenge, it's you come and they'll kind of give you a result if you're on to the next stage or something like that. There'd always be a social experiment that happens just before walking in. So if you're coming into the room, there'll be an old lady trying to cross the road or something with all her groceries. And then there'll be hidden camera. Some people would help that person.
Okay, yeah.
Or some people would just keep it pushing, whatever. They get into the room and they'd be like, you do not have true beauty. And then they'll show the video and they'll no one remembers this show or knows it, but I swear it exists.
Bro, I just searched up True.
I believe it.
I just searched up True Beauty. It came up with the K drama or K.
No. You have to type maybe True Beauty 2009, 2010 modeling. I think those are the right keywords and it'll come up.
I was gonna say
Something like that, right? But so I was on the train recently and I remember I was sitting down. I was like, man, I haven't seen I normally sit in we have a special needs or assistance, disability, accessibility priority seating.
Yeah.
And during peak hour times, everyone just sits there because not many, you wouldn't ever see really anyone pregnant coming on. It's not the times where people with
elderly.
Elderly. Those aren't the times that they'll be catching trains. So everyone just sits there. And I remember I was on the train. I was like, oh man, I haven't seen a pregnant lady get on the train. I was like, you know what? If she does, I'm going to be the person to get up and say, here, ma'am, have a seat. And that's never happened in I don't even know how many years I've caught train. At least, at my job right now, it's been consistently, I've been catching train for 2.5 years. Never happened. That morning when that thought came to my mind, I see a lady coming onto the train looking pregnant, right? And I was like, oh snap, this is the time. But then I was like, oh, I can't tell if she is or not. So you know what I did? I fake slept.
You don't have True Beauty, man. There was someone recording you, bro.
No, literally, I was like, oh snap, I can't tell. I don't want that awkward thing. I'm just gonna fake sleep. So I went to fake sleep.
Oh my god.
And then another lady's like, oh, here, would you like to sit down? I was like, oh, you know how you do the little fake. Oh, let me. So she sat there like, damn it, she was. I was like, whoa, I really felt I was like, damn, I don't know if
have true beauty.
Yeah. I'm like, this is the one day that this thought came to my mind.
Yeah.
I don't know where that came from. Like, maybe God was like, let me test this guy real quick. What are you really standing on?
my guy
Happened in
falling
that
asleep.
moment, I failed epically, right? And I just thought about that show. I was like, oh my days, true beauty. So I was gonna say there's some nomenclature from Australia right there.
I love it.
What tests in life do you think you would just never fail, or do you think you always step up to the task for? So whether it be you see rubbish on the ground, you'll always, you pick it up, or again, the offering a seat kind of thing, or someone struggling to reach something in the grocery store or whatever, or you've seen them decline, and it's it's not gonna hurt me. Maybe what test do you think you'd always be able to step up for in life to show your true beauty?
I got one.
Yeah.
This one is I was like, as a guy, I feel like you got to play this safe. But you know, like when little kids are in the pram and they stare at you, I always wave. Always wave. It doesn't matter where. And it's the worst feeling when the parents just stare at you afterwards. Like, I promise you, I'm very safe, right? But it's like, because normally parents like love it when you're nice to their kids. And so because of that, I'm always like, as soon as I see a kid in the pram, look at me, I'm like,
give him a little cheeky.
always.
Yeah. I hear it.
Yeah.
That's true beauty.
I mean,
Sensation.
it's a start.
It's a sensation. I'm in.
This is his contribution.
He's got true beauty.
It's a good start. I like it.
Yeah, okay.
What do you guys
Cheeky
think?
one. All right. If anyone is holding heavy stuff, right? So let's say someone's walking to their car holding,
I'm gonna call him out right now.
Yeah, I don't believe it.
No. Like if they're struggling, like there has to be a couple of stuff. You have to tick the box. Like if they're struggling, I'm helping you out. If there's a kid running around and say, all right, cool. Things are happening.
Chaotic.
I'm helping you out.
All right.
Older lady, older man, I'm helping you out for sure.
So you didn't see Daniel try to move this table forward, and you just,
He never
you just
got up
watched
to
him.
try to.
I looked out, I was like,
He got it.
He's all right.
and he was putting work. I was like, yeah, you got it. But yeah,
Okay.
if I see someone struggling, I have to ask.
What do y'all think? What test
I don't
of
want to
life?
answer for myself. I feel like I'm trying to live like that, but I don't want to steal my own heavenly blessing by calling it out.
Oh,
I hear you. Wow. Well, I
Call yours out.
Oh, that's sweet. Well, I'll call yours out first then.
Oh, you don't have to do that.
I know, but I choose.
Guys, we failed true beauty. Why do you call? We didn't call.
yeah, none of us caught any.
So I'll say one of her like character / spiritual superpowers is integrity.
Okay, yeah.
She oftentimes like there are just so many moments. I almost have to like be the opposite check, which maybe that's bad. But like, she'll be like, "Oh my gosh, like this is not even a real circumstance, but like they put an extra 5 on this paycheck, and we initially said this number. Like, was it a mistake? Should I ask them? Like, did you pay me extra on purpose, or was it an accident? You know what I mean?" And I'll be like, "Baby, they paid you.
They know what they're doing.
They paid you.
They've double checked it.
You know?" And like sometimes she'll like listen, but other times she'll be like, "You know what? I'm just gonna do it. I'm just gonna check because I'd rather not live with the feeling of thinking I got away with something that I shouldn't have done." And I think that's like I'm learning, and it's like shaping me to be a more integrous person.
Yeah. That's dope.
Yeah, that's amazing.
So that's my answer for
I
her.
like
That's
that.
sweet,
Yeah.
Okay, for you, you are like the kindest person I know. And so I feel like his superpower is making the lady at the grocery store feel like they are best friends and she is the most important person in the room.
Yeah.
Like our male, I lived at a place for years, maybe like 6 years, never said a word to this mail lady. He comes over one day. I swear they're best friends by the end of this mail delivery. And like, he's like, yeah, so I hope your daughter has a great time at school.
yeah.
Like I was like, oh,
Daughter? School?
Yeah, her name is Allison.
and he'll remember their name for years to come. So I feel like your kindness to strangers in every situation is like your superpower.
Oh wow.
Like intentionality with people and things
Yeah.
like that.
That's nice. Yeah.
I like that.
Even so much like I'm trying to leave this grocery store. Can we? And he's like, yeah. So wow, how would that feel for you? Like
Everyone behind is like, hurry up!
our stuff is melting.
I like that. Yeah. I think we always talk about this amongst ourselves. We're like, we want to be the people that you go to your like you pay at the till or whatever. Do you guys call it till? By the way,
We don't.
Cashier?
That's very
I know
cool.
exactly.
I love
Do we
the
call
words
it
y'all
the
say
till?
here.
Yeah.
I think we do, don't we?
Yeah,
I say cashier.
register. Yeah, cashier.
Okay.
a restaurant just
Definitely
said
say
till.
cashier.
They say till and that. Yeah, okay, I'm not tripping. All right, cool. But yeah, you be there and that person's there, and you'll be like, you'll actually go beyond the. Sometimes people don't even say anything.
Right.
Card, please.
No kindness.
Yeah, they just put it down and wait.
Flybys.
No, I
But
contact,
I'm like,
yeah.
we're like, yo, let's be the people that are the whole like.
How's your day
how you
going?
doing?
Connect.
I feel like you get some really like just random memories
I like
or
it.
nuggets of information or just funny
yeah.
interactions at them. Like this
yeah.
is dope. Yeah. Okay. That's a nice. I like that from both of you. That's dope. Yeah. I've been really convicted of rubbish on the ground recently, and I am not an environmentalist, Greenpeace, this kind of guy at all. But I don't know why recently I see Like I'll be going on my walk during work in the park.
Yeah.
And I'll pick up rubbish with
Come
me.
on.
Wow.
I don't know what's going on, guys. I don't know what's happening.
This guy's a dork.
Love that.
I've been picking up rubbish. I'm like, God, stop this, please. Like, change this within me. What's happening, man? I'm not this guy.
You need to get one of those pinches that you.
Yo,
Oh yeah, you just
Oh
have
my
in the
gosh, next level.
Yeah.
Get it
That
for
is
Christmas.
an
the
investment.
ones that fold out too. Just have it in your pocket.
I actually might have to keep a little fucking rocket.
Compact.
Hello.
Bro.
You
Yeah,
need service and that.
Danny, what you led to
that's
work? Yeah, I was
good.
just picking up rubbish. She does.
I don't know what's been going on, but like rubbish has been convicting me. I'm like, I'm not out here to start any kind of environmental movement. Nothing.
Love
I
it.
know. It's been cooking on me. Yeah, but
Another thing I'll say is
Yeah.
rubbish is so cute here.
Trash.
We say trash.
And
It's so
garbage.
ugly.
Garbage is like what you call somebody if you just really want to disrespect them.
yeah.
And that's just like a thing we say every day. But rubbish is like proper.
Rubbish. It makes the trash seem so beautiful.
Yeah, like trash actually sounds pretty bad.
Yeah, it does.
Trash is
Like,
trash.
that's trash.
Yeah, that's
man.
trash, yeah.
Even rubbish here, if you call something rubbish, we're not even that mad.
Yeah, it's not even that big of a
It's
deal.
a-
I literally saw my
lovely
coworker
word.
said that to me 2 days ago. Oh, rubbish. Like, just like kept
like-
it pushing.
Yeah.
nice.
So we're bringing
Yeah.
that back to America. We're
Yeah,
going to
Bring
be
rubbish
rubbish
back.
people.
Yeah. What are some quirky, I guess, even phrases and whatnot then that
my
you guys
gosh.
think are quite
Yeah, some Aussieisms.
Chemist.
Aussieisms? I even want to hear what do you think are some quirky things from us that you've heard then? Yeah.
Chemist. Someone said that the other day, and I was like,
Like, what?
Oh, drugstore.
Ah.
Drugstore is very
Pharmacy.
intense.
Are you
Yeah, drugs was
Drugs
That
sounds a bit
intense.
serious to
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
well, we say pharmacy.
Okay.
Okay,
yeah.
So, and even pharmacy is like, that's like maybe 40%. Most people just say CVS or Walgreens or whatever brand
Right.
is associated with that service.
Yeah.
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 Chemist is cool.
Yeah.
That is nice, yeah.
That's some random
Another one
ones.
was I was at too much context, but needed water. He said, "You guys need some water?" I was like, "Yeah, I'll take an extra." And he was like, "What?" I was like, "I'll take an extra." And I was like, either they don't use this word at all in Australia,
Wait,
or
really offended
So
him.
you
or
meant
I
like
said
another
something
one?
disrespected. I meant another one.
Yeah,
And he's
yeah.
like, "Oh, well, we have a gum
I
called
was gonna
extra."
say, probably tripping out
That's
thinking
what I was
the
thinking
gum.
as well. I was like,
Yeah,
gum
yeah,
extra?
And I was
Yeah.
like, "Oh, that's fun. Okay, no, I just want water. Thank you." Guys.
You're like, yo, I offered you water, now you're sending me like it.
Yeah,
like
like
I'm not even
a-
saying you gonna get me some
Like,
gum.
where the
You actually
McDonald's.
run to the.
Gums over there, mate.
Oh my
Yeah,
god.
I mean,
extra. Oh, wow, okay.
the biggest one that we already talked about that affected us is college is not
yeah.
university. So
Yeah.
that,
We
that
heard the
affected us
story.
professionally.
Yeah.
There was like a whole story behind it too about like it wasn't that for like a while,
Oh, right. The history of it.
and
or something.
then
Word.
I guess the
not
private
sure.
schools started calling it colleges, and the publics were like,
Yeah,
we
yeah.
don't want to seem less than, so we're
Yes.
gonna say college." And now everyone's just saying college. Meanwhile, actual college for us is like,
Completely
Yeah.
different. I
So-
think that,
so we
honestly, that might
say-
be it then, yeah.
That makes
We
so
say
much sense.
elementary school, middle school, high school, and then when you graduate high school, you go to college.
and then college
And
can
that's
be
the higher
university
learning.
or whatever, but it's like
Yeah.
synonymous.
So I guess that's Americanism.
I guess so.
Elementary and middle is what grades again, though, sorry?
Elementary's like
1 through 5.
to
or
5.
Oh,
K
so
through
it's
Yeah.
5?
primary school. Okay, yeah. And then middle is like your what?
6
Your
to 8.
To 8.
well,
yeah, I
see,
didn't
but
know
not
about that.
everywhere. For me,
I was
it
a Pemberton Penguin.
It was only 7 and 8.
Oh, okay.
What did you say just then?
The school I went to was Pemberton Elementary, Pemberton Penguins.
What is that?
I remember this stuff, man. Yeah.
Yo, what is that?
Oh, we're trying to see some pengies while we're here.
Oh yeah.
Oh, you gotta go out
There's
to Phillip
sea
Island.
life,
Yep.
but there's Phillip Island then, yeah. Which I
Yeah.
think might be a good time to
Yeah, that's
see
a bit
the
of a
little fairy
distance,
prince.
but yeah.
I'm so ready.
Right, okay.
There's a lot.
That's like
Australia's
an
a
hour
beautiful
and a
place, yo.
half.
Yeah,
Guys,
so much
you
to
came at a
see,
good
so much
time
to
as
see.
well.
Yeah.
Weather's nice, so it's getting colder for y'all, but you got to continue your summer a little bit. Like, coming here too, so.
Yes.
Right. I mean, it's all summer in LA. It was like 90 degrees. It's
Oh,
fall.
man. Yeah.
But it's
Yeah.
not fall.
What is living in LA like?
Good question.
Especially, sorry, actually for both of you, because you both didn't originally.
Oh yeah.
Actually, both. I was
Oh
gonna
yeah,
say,
and
especially
how do
from
you
the-
end up in LA?
Yeah. We asked 5,000 different questions.
Yeah.
Actually, then, so do what you
So
can.
LA is fast,
Yeah.
fast paced, and like if you're not careful, like it helps to know the Lord because no striving is a thing with knowing the Lord. You know, like we don't want to strive, but LA is strive city.
Yeah.
It's like you're hustling. You're hustling for your other hustle. Like you got a couple hustles.
Everyone's middle name is Hustle.
Yeah. Like, and if
it's
you're not
all
hustling,
bio
like
on
what's wrong with you?
Instagram.
Why are you here? What's your dream? Like what's,
Yeah.
you know, if your rest culture is not.
Is it an exhausted place?
1,000%. I'm exhausted.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. And you say exhausted like it's burnt out or exhausting?
I mean, both, eh?
But like, are the people burnt out but still going?
it depends on your community,
Right.
really.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, I don't want to take your thunder, but to kind of go to the answer to the question, like for us now, there's some strive moments. And there's
The Lord
like,
has to keep teaching me that. For sure.
yeah, but mostly maybe it was even like a weird kind of pseudo blessing from COVID, but like learning how to work from home and turn home into like a place where you can be like resourceful and like productive and get a rhythm with that. Complete game changer.
Yeah.
Like I drive so much less, not really in traffic that much.
Yeah.
When I do have to go somewhere, thankfully for this part of my life, I'm just Ubering to the airport and that's literally it.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
it's
yeah.
like
Come on.
scrolling,
I like that.
watching YouTube videos, and I'm just there, you know. So like, there's a lot less of that like
Losing life.
thing.
Yeah.
LA traffic is not a joke.
Oh,
it no.
Yeah, wow.
Man. I think
No
we were
joke.
side real quick, but we were there one time. We've gone a couple times now, but every time it's the same thing.
Yeah.
4 hours, I think we were driving on one time,
Yeah.
and we saw. Or even there was even a time I think it was a short distance, and there were about like 7 different accidents that we saw. I was like, "What is this?"
That's
place?
crazy.
Yeah.
That isn't all. That
I forgot what the highways.
Yeah,
I
especially if it's
something
rained.
crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Day and rain.
Yeah, yeah.
Not a good mix.
But I slowed it down a little bit now to try to gauge that balance with the business of what's going on in LA around you. Yeah, okay.
And I mean, there's still a lot of like that same go energy. Thing is, too, for me, growing up on the East Coast, I was in New Jersey. Jersey is pretty chill, but right next to Jersey is New York.
Yeah.
New York is like LA times 10.
Right.
Dude,
Crazy.
He lost it.
I love it. It's so like, because I was there 2022 for only 4 days. I was in Toronto seeing family, and then I went down a couple of days by myself. And I was like, this is not beautiful, but it's incredible.
It's
Like, I love how fast paced it is. I love how like you have to push your way through. Like even just seeing like little kids order pizza. Like the way they just
Oh,
step
they just
up
get
and they're
it.
like 2 slices. Blah, blah. And I'm just like they're like waiting, and I'm like, oh, I'm not meant to wait. And I was like, oh, okay,
That's
this
crazy.
and like just the dynamics of how multicultural it is, but like everyone is at every level.
Wow.
You know what I mean? For me, I was like, I think if I lived here my whole life, I would really thrive. I don't know why. That's
hear
that
that.
feeling I had.
I hear
But
that.
yeah,
I can see it.
yeah.
I'll say these 3 things. A, New York is like humanity in its most raw state, but in the context of a U.S. government. Like the rawest you will ever see. Any one day you can see like literally someone proposing, someone getting stabbed, someone just like cussing out a
Yo,
stranger.
I
someone
got cussed out in my first 30 minutes of being in New York,
Bro.
and I don't know what I did.
peeing on the train, pooping on the train, like literally everything that you could ever imagine, you'll probably see in every day.
Yeah.
That's point 1. Point 2, the human health, there's a decibel limit for how much noise you can handle before it starts to literally add mental stress and affect your hearing negatively.
Yeah.
It's 90 decibels. LA or New York's base auditory level is 90 decibels at any given point.
Oh, that can't be healthy.
So like if you have an Apple Watch, it'll tell you, hey, you're hitting
Get up outta here.
Yeah, you're at the noise threshold. Like you should probably find a quieter place. New York is that nonstop.
Wow, no.
It's like you should probably leave this concert. This is my life.
Yeah, like this is my whole life. So like the
here.
whole like built different term
Uh,
quite literally applies to New York.
They just the one crazy
It
part.
changes your anatomy.
yeah.
Like not even joking.
Yeah.
So-
There's just constantly smoke coming out of the ground, and I was like,
That's
"What
the
is going
thing that
on?"
tripped
Like
me out.
from where,
Yeah.
bro? Ninja Turtles?
Yeah,
I was like, the Ninja Turtles are really good.
Yeah.
We were
Bro.
there during winter as well, so I'm like, it's even more just coming out.
It's-
So what is
yeah.
going on in this
Yeah.
place?
Smells
trash
crazy.
bags everywhere. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
trash bags
Oh,
everywhere.
rubbish.
That-
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
I remember
But
when
no,
they
it's
had that
not
thing when
rubbish,
they
it's
just
trash.
finally rolled out the
wheelie bins?
the wheelie bins with the closable lid to stop the wrapper. And I said, guys, 2024, what's happening?
Yeah.
Yo. All right, yeah.
So New York is a little chaotic,
Yeah.
but also I've also heard that like every city has like a culture and a character, and some people just belong in some places.
Yeah.
I met someone recently. She was like, I actually hated LA, and the pace was weird. I'm from Georgia. I moved away from there, but New York is my vibe, and I need to live there my whole life. I'm just like, girl, you crazy?
Yeah.
But there's people that like love it. Like as you said, you probably would have thrived because you recognize like, oh, this catalyst is good for my chemistry.
Yeah.
Respect. I can't do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But life in LA is still dope. I think it's good for what
Yeah,
you
it's
guys are
great.
involved
Oh,
in
for
for
sure.
sure. Like
Exactly.
that's definitely a blessing.
And any place, community is everything.
Yeah.
You could. I'm sure you guys love what life looks like in a lot of the beautiful points because you have good community. You could also be here with like nobody or just the wrong kind of people, and
sure.
like life is terrible.
Yeah,
you know? So we're
true.
definitely
It's big
blessed
true.
to like meet not even just good like there's church community, there's music community, but then there's like this cool overlap we have where it's just like people that love the Lord but like are not super stickler about stuff and you live in LA as a musician. So we're really blessed to be a part of that.
Yeah, it's like it's just where we're supposed to be right now.
That's
So
cool.
it feels right.
That's
and
cool.
we have our, community, and that changes everything. Because actually, everyone is telling me I'm supposed to live in Nashville to do what I'm personally trying to do.
That's where all the songwriters end up going for some reason.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so it's interesting because, I'm supposed to be there, but we're supposed to be in LA right now. So,
It's about
but
navigating that.
and so I take quite a bit of trips to Nashville, but also the way God got me personally to LA was very strategic of him, because I was trying to be a music teacher in Michigan when I graduated. I went to college in Michigan for K-12 music. I'm gonna be a music teacher, like my mom, like my aunt, like my other 5 aunts, like
Literally.
for sure. And so I graduated in the middle of the year, so December, and so you can't really jump into the school year too easy as a teacher. So I was like, well, I'll take a visit. My sister lives living in Huntington Beach. I'll take a 2-week or so visit to LA. And so I packed my bags. I'm like, oh, my friends, I'll be back in a couple weeks. 2 weeks, max, tops. Went to LA, never went back.
Wow.
Sometimes it's just like that. Yeah.
Sheesh.
I lived on my sister's couch, started paying rent on my sister's couch, got a job, started touring around.
Rent for the couch is crazy, but
How
Hey,
much for
you
this
gotta
couch?
contribute. You gotta contribute. And so I feel like in the kindest way, the Lord tricked me into moving to LA because I wouldn't have. I'm not a city girl. There's cornfields outside my house in Michigan, So I love the country. I love green grass. I love, country air. I love, the falls. I like the seasons.
yeah.
And
Having
so
actual seasons.
having seasons.
Pumpkin
I remember
carving.
visiting LA as a high schooler, and I saw the traffic. I was like, no, I'm good. Never. I don't even need to come back probably.
Yeah, wow.
But so he tricked me into moving here, and it's where he needed me, and everything started from there. And that's how I met my husband. And, so how music started. I didn't have a dream of being a songwriter or anything.
Yeah.
I was going to be a music teacher, and I was going to stay in Michigan. So the Lord has his way to get us where we need to go.
It's about all things working together ultimately.
Yeah.
As well. It's really dope to see that in
100%.
real time with you guys.
And so him also, I found my church right away when I just Googled good church in LA and found
that came up with an actual result.
It actually worked.
literally found
worked.
Oasis Church the first weekend I was there, and I've been there now for forever. I found my family there. It would have been super different being in LA without community would be wildly lonely.
Yeah.
Wildly lonely. And so
Especially when it seems like everyone,
Because then everyone's moving too fast for you. Like, it's like no one has time for you.
and it's so spread out.
Yeah.
You're not going to be close in proximity to the people that you want to hang with. So then you're either going to drive an hour and a half every time you're trying to see your friend, or you have a church community that you're all kind of, that's your home base, or, so finding the community.
Another thing too about LA with the community part that's like a little sketchy is because it's like a place where people go with their dreams.
Yeah.
A lot of times people start to associate connection and network with
The
like
goal.
moving forward and dreams and so then relationships become like
Transaction.
another currency.
tool ultimately.
It's another it's anher way to like pay your dues or like rep something. And then people start to get in these moments where they think they're actually building community, but it's just like they're trying to
Network.
collect
collect
like
community.
numbers, collect
Right.
community, and then
That's wild.
you never
Yeah.
had time for anybody. You never actually have any real life experience with them.
gross.
And then you come to a point where like, wait, I just spent 5 years like thinking I had all these friends.
Yeah.
I'm going to, you know, doing this random thing
not
alone
fun.
that's like really, you know, so.
Yeah. That's such a really good context that to put behind what we see typically, you know, that they would have on E-News or whatever, like this person's falling out with this person. And you're like, I thought they were good, but when that might be the landscape or the canvas for which relationships are built on, then it makes sense why that would fall through in that kind of a way for sure. Yeah, that's interesting. Oh man, what's cooking? I mean, what's next? What can we expect from the two of you individually as well?
I mentioned a little earlier, but I have a music video dropping like next week for a song that's releasing next week. I'm really excited. Yeah. Actually, it's the song I played on Sunday.
Yeah, okay,
was really good.
With the looper and everything.
Yeah.
So by the time this airs, it'll be out.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is Thursday, right?
Yeah,
and that's
November
also
7th.
Thursday. No, I mean, date is the date. Still
Yeah.
the same
Sure.
date, but
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. For sure. Oh, that's sick.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
okay.
it's called Take Care of You.
Yes.
It's super dope and
It's a fun little video.
Yeah, okay.
yeah, it's a really cool video.
I think people are going to enjoy it.
Nice. I like that. There's clearly joy from you as well.
Yeah.
Put this out too, so you're excited.
Oh,
you
yeah.
enjoy it as well.
Yeah.
Is that your first music video? Or?
No. I have a number of them, but they're pretty gapped out. Music videos, it's a lot of times they cost a lot for
Yeah.
what?
For sure.
Yeah.
Like for a few hundred views.
Yeah.
I mean, or it pops off and it changes your life. But
Yeah.
Usually a song can just do that. You know, and
100%.
it already costs enough just to put it out.
Yeah.
Sure, for sure.
And he's gonna be releasing more stuff too. He's got stuff cooking behind that too. So and like a new sort of vibe that might be cooking too. Not
Exclusive.
so yeah, just
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So anyway.
Yeah.
I heard that, but I will say it.
Something. All right, something, but there's something else to come.
That's
So he's got
That's dope.
stuff, and he writes and puts stuff out for Sync too. So, which is
Right.
cool. Even outside of his artistry, that's kind of a part of it as well. He puts out music to for movies and film and commercials and things. So check it out. He's got a ton of stuff out.
Yeah.
Both under it's all under Teddy Obot, but
Yeah.
it's his own like heart stuff, but also his Sync stuff. It's really good.
Okay, sick.
That's cool, man.
Teddy Obot on Spotify, Apple Music,
Cooking.
iTunes. Let's go.
Yeah. Sick.
Hey, thanks, baby.
That's the drive home sorted
I know.
for me.
Oh,
Man, we'll set up a little playlist on the drive home for sure.
Oh yeah,
for sure.
yeah, you'll love it. So cooking
Expect.
for me. So yeah, just released this worship project
Yeah.
a couple weeks ago, and excited to. 2025 is gonna be crazy, y'all. It's just gonna be so much music. So I got a new vibe, a little bit cooking, and so I'm excited to release that. So maybe I got a harp Christmas song, and then a harp other thing,
That's a banger.
and then gonna start rolling out this new vibe. It's a little vibier. So I'm not sure how my harp people are gonna feel about it, but
They'll come around.
yeah.
And I will say, as her husband, it's like a lot closer to her heart.
All right,
as
yeah.
far as A, she's writing music. B, it's her voice is crazy, but a lot of the stuff that she usually ends up needing to do doesn't get to show off her whole ability. So I think this is gonna be really cool representation of what she actually does.
Yeah. So this has probably been the funnest one for you to make, right?
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's been pretty fun.
Yeah.
So look out for that.
Oh, for sure. Between you two, how many instruments do we have?
Okay, let's list them out. We got keys.
Keys, guitar, bass. Oh, clarinet.
Okay.
Yeah. I have voice if that counts, but yes. What else? I feel like there's like some other random thing in there.
I mean, all kinds of
Oh,
guitars.
harmonica.
Yeah.
Oh, he plays harmonica on tour
Like
with Andy.
legitimately play it, which is strange.
And electric and acoustic. So I don't know.
Sure. Yeah.
They kinda
Guitar,
are
right?
different
Okay, I
vibes.
thought you were about to say harmonica. I said what?
Oh, right.
harmonica. What's going on here?
Right, honestly, you gotta plug it in with a little cable.
Yeah.
Whoa.
So that's 6-ish.
Yeah.
And then we got harp over here. I used to play piano until I married him, and now I don't claim it
She
She
anymore.
still plays. and she's
Guitar,
nice.
oboe. My first instrument was actually soprano saxophone.
Is that like the particular tone or pitch that it produces?
Yeah,
or something?
yeah,
Okay,
yeah. It's like a higher,
Yeah.
less. I don't even know anyone that has one. It's not really a normal one to play
Yeah.
anymore. I'll have like a ukulele moment. And then my mom plays everything. So honestly, when we go home, when we go to my place in Michigan, there's just instruments everywhere. So you one day you can pick up the marxophone. I have a mountain dulcimer in my house. I played it the other day. I called my mom. She taught me how to play it on FaceTime. So it's just kind of picking up whatever. So
That's cool.
Quite a few between us.
Yeah.
That's the
My whole family plays zero. the four of us, there's nothing. That's great.
And the next generation of your family too. Is
Hey man,
what's your niece saying?
Drums, hopefully. I don't know.
Cool drums, yeah.
He started. There's the drum set right there. He's getting
Oh my gosh, that's adorable. That's
It's
adorable.
been abused already. Look at it.
Yeah.
That's awesome. We're excited though for sure. And
Yeah.
we'll definitely, everyone please tap in and check everything that's going on. Thank you for spending time with us.
Yeah.
This was fun.
Australia, this was fun for
Yeah.
sure. Thanks for coming down. Appreciate it.
Hopefully we'll see you next year as well.
Yeah.
Next year, hopefully we'll see
A year in
you.
advance. Yeah.
There's talks.
Hopefully our pastor's
We'll
cooking
check out-
on the lives again.
Yeah,
It legit is. Yeah.
We'll see if he likes the new vibe.
Right. I mean, there's a bit of it already. So
Alright,
Yeah.
cool,
Yeah,
cool,
so-
cool.
That's awesome. That's
I'm
awesome.
looking forward to
Thank
it.
you for joining us. I was actually going to say before we wrap up, do you mind closing us out in just a prayer for our listeners?
Sure, yeah.
Thank you.
Come on.
Together, you.
Whoever, anyone, both.
I'll go first.
Okay.
And then, God. We love you, bro. JK, not bro. Father, what a treat it is to be a part of this global community that is just believers. And thank you, Lord, for what it means for us to be here in this podcast setting, and even just the cool family dynamics that are already happening and building. And I can see it's something that's beginning, that's starting. And Lord, we're just very grateful, very, very grateful for how you've brought us to this point, and how that you are continuing to guide our steps. We pray favor over this podcast. Let it continue to grow. Let it minister to people. Let it bless people, and even just be a sense of community for those that may not have it in the same way.
Yeah.
We thank you for the obedience that you've put in your children to get this thing going, and we pray for favor. Let it blow up. In Jesus' name.
And Jesus, we thank you for just bringing us here. It's wild to be this far away and be making friends and family over here, and just pray that pray your blessing over this podcast. Pray your blessing over these listeners. Pray that something that was said today could minister to somebody, that could encourage somebody, could help someone see something from a perspective you'd have them to look at it through. Bless these guys. Bless. I know there's more hosts that we haven't even met yet of this podcast. Would you just put your favor and your light on them, that through these airwaves, that you would just reach your people in a fresh way. That this feels so. It feels fresh. What these guys and gals are doing on this podcast. So reach your people and minister to them as you walk out everything that you've called these guys and gals to do in their personal lives as well. So we love you, God. We honor you. We say have your way in our lives just once again. We want what you want, because clearly your ways are better always, even if it doesn't make sense in the moment. So we just lay our lives down again before you and say have your way, and thank you for how you move. We love you, God. Amen.
Amen.
Come on. That was
Thank you for coming through. You guys can follow them right there and in the description. We'll see you guys next week. Peace out.
Peace.
Love.
That's us.
Yeah.
Sick.
Come on.